At 6 in the morning, I carried the last box to my car while my husband slept upstairs. My hands were shaking, but not because the box was heavy. Inside it were my children's school pictures, their favorite books, and the blue blanket my son had loved since he was a baby. In less than an hour, Ryan would leave for work. He would walk past the half-empty closet, the missing shoes, and the boxes near the back door. I wondered if he would notice. For years, I had believed that losing me would hurt him. That morning, I was no longer sure he had ever really seen me. My name is Leah. I was 32 years old, and I worked at a large market outside a small town in Ohio. I had 2 children, Noah and Lily, and a marriage that looked normal from the street. There was a car in the driveway, toys in the yard, and family pictures on the wall. But inside our home, love had slowly become silence. I met Ryan when I was 24. At that time, I worked in a small bakery near the market. He came in one rainy afternoon and ordered coffee and a cinnamon roll. He made a joke about the weather, and I laughed. Before he left, he asked for my number. Ryan knew how to make a person feel special. He remembered small things. He knew I hated onions, loved old movies, and always called my mother on Sunday evenings. He sent kind messages before work. He brought me soup when I was sick. When we walked together, he held my hand as if he never wanted to let go. My parents liked him, but they thought we were moving too fast. My mother told me, a person can be charming for a year. Time shows you who he is. I heard her words, but I did not listen. I thought she was being too careful. After 14 months, Ryan asked me to marry him. He took me to a quiet lake at sunset and gave me a simple silver ring. I want a home with you, he said. I want children. I want all of it. I believed him because I wanted the same things. Our first apartment was small, but I loved it. The kitchen table stood too close to the refrigerator, and the bedroom window would not close all the way in winter. Still, we were happy. We cooked pasta together, watched movies on the sofa, and talked about the house we would buy one day. Then I became pregnant. Ryan smiled when I showed him the test. He lifted me into his arms and said he was going to be the best father in the world. For several months, he touched my stomach every night. He talked about teaching our child to ride a bike and taking family trips in summer. But near the end of my pregnancy, something changed. Ryan started coming home late. He said work was busy. When I asked how his day had been, he answered with 1 or 2 words. At first, I thought he was nervous about becoming a father. I told myself that change could be frightening for anyone. Noah was born on a cold February morning. He had dark hair, long fingers, and a strong little cry. When the nurse placed him in my arms, I felt a love so deep that it frightened me. I looked at Ryan and waited for the same wonder to appear on his face. He held Noah long enough for a picture. Then he gave the baby back and said he needed some air. At home, I became responsible for almost everything. I fed Noah at night, washed bottles, changed diapers, cleaned the apartment, and tried to sleep for a few minutes when I could. Ryan still went out with friends. He still played games on his phone for hours. If Noah cried while I was cooking, Ryan turned up the television. One night, after I had been awake for almost 20 hours, I asked him to hold the baby while I took a shower. "You wanted to be a mother," he said. "This is what mothers do." The words were cold, but I searched for a softer meaning. Maybe he was tired. Maybe he did not know how to care for a baby. Maybe he needed time. I became very good at making excuses for him. When Noah was 2, I became pregnant again. I was afraid to tell Ryan, but when I finally did, he only looked at the wall. "We can handle it," I said quietly. He gave a tired sigh. "I guess we have to." That was all. Our daughter, Lily, was born early on a Tuesday afternoon. Ryan was not at the hospital. He said there was an emergency at work, but he did not answer my calls for 6 hours. My sister stayed with Noah, so I held Lily alone while nurses moved in and out of the room. I watched the door each time it opened. I kept expecting Ryan to walk in with flowers, an apology, or at least a worried face. He arrived the next morning. He stayed for less than 20 minutes. He looked at Lily, kissed my forehead, and said he had not slept well. I wanted to ask where he had been. Instead, I told him there were clean baby clothes in the bag near the chair. That was the beginning of the life I lived for the next 5 years. Every morning, I woke before the rest of the house. I made breakfast, packed lunches, found missing shoes, and took the children to school or daycare. Then I worked at Northway Market. I filled shelves, checked prices, cleaned spills, and smiled at customers even when I had cried in the car 10 minutes earlier. After work, I cooked dinner, helped with homework, washed clothes, and prepared everything for the next day. Ryan came home, opened a beer, and sat on the sofa. Sometimes I asked him to help Noah with reading or give Lily a bath. He always had a reason not to do it. He was tired. His back hurt. He had an important message to answer. The game was almost over. I stopped asking because every request became an argument. The hardest moments were not the loud ones. Ryan rarely shouted. He did something that hurt more. He acted as if we were not important enough to make him angry. When Noah was 4, he became very sick one night. His face was hot, and his breathing sounded wrong. I called Ryan again and again, but he did not answer. I wrapped Noah in a blanket, woke Lily, and drove both children to the emergency room. Lily slept across 2 plastic chairs while I held Noah's hand. The doctor said he had a serious infection but would be fine after treatment. I cried with relief in the hospital bathroom. Ryan came home after sunrise. He found us in the kitchen, tired and still wearing our clothes from the night before. I told him where we had been. He looked at Noah and said, "He seems fine now." Then he went upstairs to sleep. That morning, something inside me changed. It did not break all at once. It became quieter. I began to understand that Ryan's distance was not a bad week or a difficult season. It was the way he had chosen to live. Still, I stayed. I told myself the children needed both parents. I worried about money. I worried about rent, childcare, and what people would say. Most of all, I worried that leaving would hurt Noah and Lily more than staying. So I smiled in family pictures. I told teachers that Ryan was busy. I told my parents we were doing well. At night, I cried in the bathroom with the water running. One Saturday, I planned a picnic at a park near the river. I made sandwiches, cut apples, and packed a Red Bull for the children. Ryan promised he would come. Noah stood by the window for almost an hour, watching for his father's car. At last, Ryan sent a short message. He said something had come up. Noah tried to hide his disappointment. "Maybe next time," he said. I forced a smile. Yes, maybe next time. But as I drove to the park, I looked at my son in the mirror. I knew he was learning to expect nothing. At the park, we played near the river and watched birds walk along the water. Lily laughed when the wind carried her paper napkin across the grass. For a little while, the 3 of us were happy. Then Noah asked, "Does Dad like being with us?" I almost said yes. The lie was ready in my mouth. But I could not say it. "Your dad has his own problems," I answered. "But you did nothing wrong." That night, I sat at the kitchen table after everyone was asleep. I thought about the answer I had given. I had spent years protecting Ryan from the truth, even in front of his own children. A few months later, Noah won a reading award at school. He made a card for Ryan with a bright yellow star on the front. Inside, he wrote, "Thank you for helping me learn." Ryan had never helped him, but Noah still wanted his approval. When he gave Ryan the card, Ryan looked at it for a moment and placed it beside his phone. "Good job," he said without looking up. Noah waited. When no other words came, he walked quietly to his room. I picked up the card later. There was a small mark near the star where one of Noah's tears had touched the paper. For the first time, I asked myself a different question. I had always asked, will leaving damage my children? Now I asked, what is staying teaching them? At work, my friend Tessa began to notice that something was wrong. She worked in the customer service area and had a calm way of speaking. One afternoon, she found me sitting alone in the break room. I had not touched my lunch. "You do not have to tell me anything," she said. "But you look like someone carrying a house on her back." I laughed, but tears filled my eyes. I told her only a little. I said Ryan was distant. I said I felt alone. Tessa did not tell me to leave him. She did not tell me what to do. She only said, being married should not make you feel invisible every day. Her words stayed with me. Not long after that, Ryan forgot my birthday. The children remembered. Noah made a paper crown, and Lily drew a picture of the three of us holding hands. Ryan came home late, ate the dinner I had cooked, and went upstairs. He never asked why the children had made a crown. He never noticed the small cake on the kitchen counter. After the children were asleep, I lit one candle and sat alone. I did not wish for Ryan to love me again. That surprised me. I wished for courage. The next day, Tessa brought me a cupcake at work. Another employee named Marcus joined us for coffee during our break. Marcus was not trying to flirt with me. He simply listened when I spoke and asked how Noah's school play had gone. His kindness made me uncomfortable because it showed me how little kindness I received at home. That evening, I looked at myself in the bathroom mirror. I saw tired eyes and a face that seemed older than 32. I whispered, "How long are you going to wait?" A week later, Noah had a small part in a school play. He practiced the same 6 lines every night. He asked Ryan to come at least 5 times. Ryan promised he would. On the evening of the play, one chair beside me remained empty. Noah looked toward it before he walked onto the stage. He forgot one line, paused, and then continued. I clapped louder than anyone. When we returned home, Ryan was watching television. He did not ask about the play. He only complained that the kitchen light had been left on. After the children went to bed, I finally spoke. "You missed another important night," I said. "Noah kept looking for you." Ryan did not turn away from the screen. "I work," he said. "I cannot attend every little thing." It was not a little thing to him. Ryan lowered the volume and looked at me with open annoyance. "You are never satisfied, Leah. I pay part of the bills. I come home. What else do you want?" "I want a husband. They want a father." He laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "You wanted this family more than I did." The room became very still. I asked him what he meant. Ryan rubbed his face and said, "I thought marriage was the next step. Everyone was getting married. You were happy, and it was easy. What about the things you said? The home, the children, our future?" "I said what people say," he answered. "I did not know it would become all this work." I felt as if the floor had moved beneath me. For years, I had searched for the man from the bakery. I had believed he was still somewhere inside Ryan, hidden under stress and disappointment. Now I understood something painful. Maybe that man had only been a role Ryan enjoyed playing. He liked being admired. He liked being wanted. But when love required patience, care, and daily effort, he stepped away. I did not sleep that night. The next morning, I took the children to the park after school. The sun was warm, and Lily ran toward the swings. Noah helped push her. They laughed together, and I sat on a bench watching them. A strange feeling came over me. It was not sadness. It was peace. Ryan was not there, and for once, I did not have to explain his absence. I did not have to watch the children wait for him. I realized that the best moments in our life had already happened without him. That evening, I opened a notebook and wrote down every expense I could think of. Rent, food, childcare, gas, school clothes. The numbers frightened me, but they did not stop me. Tessa helped me find a small apartment near the children's school. It was on the second floor of an old building with white walls and large windows. The kitchen was tiny, and the carpet had a dark mark near the front door. But sunlight filled the living room. When I stood there, I could breathe. I signed the papers 2 weeks later. I did not tell Ryan right away. I was not trying to punish him. I was trying to make one clear decision without being pulled back into another empty promise. For several nights, I packed after he went to sleep. I took only what the children and I needed. Clothes, books, school papers, a few dishes, the blue blanket. Ryan noticed nothing. The night before we left, he walked through the living room while 3 boxes stood beside the wall. He looked at them and asked, "Are those things for donation?" "Yes," I said. In a way, it was true. I was giving away the life I had kept trying to save. The next morning, Ryan left for work without saying goodbye. The children stood near the door with their backpacks. "Are we going somewhere?" Lily asked. "We are going to our new home," I said. Noah looked at me carefully. "Is Dad coming?" "No," I answered. "Not today." He was quiet for a moment, then took his sister's hand. We carried the last box to the car together. At the apartment, the children ran from room to room. Lily chose the corner near the window for her toys. Noah placed his books on the floor in a careful row. We had no table, so we ate sandwiches on a blanket in the living room. "This feels like our park picnic," Lily said. Noah smiled. "But no one is missing." His words hurt, but they also told me I had made the right choice. Ryan called that evening. He was angry, not sad. He demanded to know where we were. He said I had embarrassed him and made him look like a bad husband. I listened until he stopped. "We are safe," I said. "You can speak with the children tomorrow. From now on, we will talk only about them and the things they need." "You cannot just leave," he said. "I already did." Then I ended the call. My hands shook again, but this time I was not afraid of the future. I was letting go of the past. The first weeks were difficult. Money was tight, and the apartment felt empty. I worked extra hours. Tessa gave us 2 chairs she no longer needed, and my sister found a used table at a yard sale. Noah and Lily covered the refrigerator with drawings. We made Friday night our movie night and ate popcorn from one large bowl. There were hard days. The children missed the idea of their father, even when they did not miss the waiting. Sometimes Noah asked why Ryan had not tried harder. I told him the truth in simple words. "Your father has choices to make," I said. "His choices are not your fault." I never told them Ryan was a terrible person. I did not need to. I only stopped hiding what his actions had shown. One evening, about 3 months after we moved, I found our old wedding picture inside a box. Ryan and I were smiling beside the lake. For a moment, I felt sorry for the young woman in the picture. She believed love was proven by beautiful words. I almost threw the picture away, but I did not. I placed it back in the box. It was part of my life, but it was no longer the center of it. Later that night, Lily climbed into my lap near the window. Noah sat on the floor reading a book. The apartment was not quiet. The washing machine was running, someone was walking upstairs, and Lily was singing the same song again and again. But the noise felt warm. Lily rested her head against me and said, "Mommy, you smile more here." Noah looked up from his book. "She does." I held them both close. Ryan had once made me feel chosen. Then, year by year, he made me feel invisible. For a long time, I waited for his love to become real. In the end, I stopped waiting. I chose a smaller home, a harder road, and an honest life. I chose peace for my children. I chose respect for myself. Ryan had pretended to love me. But when I finally walked away, I learned that my life did not need his love to become real. 6 months after we moved, Ryan came to the apartment without calling first. It was a Saturday morning. Noah was reading at the kitchen table, and Lily was drawing flowers on a piece of yellow paper. When someone knocked, I thought it was my sister. I opened the door without checking. Ryan stood in the hallway. He looked different. His hair was longer, and there were dark circles under his eyes. He held a small bag of toys in one hand. "Can I come in?" he asked. I stayed in the doorway. "You should have called." "I know. I just wanted to see the kids." Noah looked up from his book. Lily ran toward the door, then stopped when she saw her father. For one painful second, no one moved. Ryan lifted the bag and smiled. "I brought you something." The children looked at me. I did not want them to believe they needed my permission to love their father. "You can visit for an hour," I said. "But next time, you must call first." Ryan sat in the living room while Lily opened the bag. Inside was a large doll she had once seen in a store. Noah received a new electronic game. The children thanked him, but they did not know what to say next. Ryan had brought expensive gifts, yet he had not brought anything they truly needed. He did not know what book Noah was reading. He did not know Lily had started taking dance lessons. He asked questions a visitor might ask. "How is school? Are your teachers nice? Do you like this apartment?" The children answered politely. I stood in the kitchen and listened. I had imagined this moment many times. In my old dreams, Ryan would finally understand what he had lost. He would fall to his knees, say he was sorry, and become the man he had promised to be. But real life was quieter. Ryan looked uncomfortable. The children looked unsure. No beautiful speech could repair years of missed birthdays, school plays, and hospital visits. After an hour, Ryan stood to leave. Outside the apartment, he turned to me. "Can we talk alone?" I closed the door behind me and stayed in the hallway. Ryan looked down at the floor. "The house feels strange without you," he said. I waited. "There is no food in the refrigerator. The clothes stay in the laundry basket. I come home, and everything is quiet." His words did not surprise me. He did not say he missed my laugh. He did not say he missed talking with me. He missed the work I had done. "You can learn to cook and wash your own clothes," I said. "That is not what I mean." "Then what do you mean?" He looked at me for the first time. "I think we should try again." There had been a time when those words would have filled me with hope. I would have accepted them before he finished speaking. Now I felt only calm. "What has changed?" I asked. Ryan opened his mouth, but no answer came. "You left," he finally said. "That changed everything." "No. I changed everything. You are still waiting for someone else to fix your life." He became angry. "I came here to make peace, Leah. Peace is not asking me to return to the same life." He stepped closer and lowered his voice. "I said I want to try. And what does trying mean to you?" He did not answer. "Does it mean helping Noah when he is afraid? Does it mean learning the name of Lily's teacher? Does it mean coming home when your child is in the hospital?" His face became hard. "You always bring up the past. The past is why we are here." Ryan shook his head. "You have changed." "Yes," I said. "I had to." He left without saying goodbye. For the rest of the day, I worried that I had been too cold. Old habits returned quickly. I started thinking about his feelings before my own. Then Noah came into the kitchen. "Is Dad coming back to live with us?" he asked. "No." He looked relieved, and that answer told me everything. "Do you want him to?" I asked. Noah thought for a moment. "I want him to visit," he said. "But I do not want you to cry in the bathroom again." I felt my throat tighten. I had believed the running water had hidden my sadness. But children notice more than adults understand. I hugged him. "You were never responsible for my tears," I said. "I know. And you are not responsible for making your father happy." He nodded, but I knew he would need to hear those words more than once. Ryan began visiting the children twice a month. At first, he often arrived late. Sometimes he cancelled at the last minute. I no longer made excuses for him. If he did not come, I said, "Your father cancelled today." I did not say he was working hard. I did not promise he would come next time. The truth sometimes disappointed the children, but it did not confuse them. Little by little, Ryan became more dependable. He attended one of Lily's dance lessons. He took Noah to the library. He was not suddenly a perfect father. There were still missed calls and forgotten plans. But whether he changed or not was no longer the center of my life. I stopped measuring every day by his choices. At Northway Market, my manager offered me a full-time position in the customer service department. The job came with better pay and more regular hours. I almost said no. The old Leah was afraid of anything new. She believed she should be grateful for whatever she had. Then I remembered the morning I carried those boxes to the car. "I would like the position," I said. Tessa hugged me when she heard the news. "I knew you could do it." I smiled. I am starting to know it too. With the extra money, I bought a small sofa for the living room. It was second-hand, but it was soft and clean. On the first night we had it, the children climbed beside me. We watched an old comedy and shared a bowl of popcorn. Halfway through the movie, Lily fell asleep against my shoulder. Noah looked around the room. "This place really feels like home now," he said. I looked at the drawings on the refrigerator, the books under the window, and the shoes beside the door. The apartment was still small. The washing machine was still loud. Our table did not match our chairs. But no one walked carefully to avoid another person's anger. No one waited at the window for a promise that would not be kept. There was peace in every imperfect corner. Nearly a year after I left, Ryan asked to meet me at a coffee shop. He said he wanted to discuss the children. After we finished talking about school and visit times, he became quiet. "I was not good to you," he said. It was the first honest apology he had ever given me. I waited, but he did not blame work, stress, or me. "I liked the idea of being a husband and father," he continued. "But I did not want to do the difficult parts. You carried everything, and I acted like it was normal." Hearing those words did not heal the past. But they gave it a clear name. "I kept waiting for you to become the person you pretended to be," I said. Ryan looked down at his coffee. I think I was pretending to myself too. For a moment, I saw the young man from the bakery. Not the charming smile, but the weakness behind it. I no longer hated him. I also no longer wanted him back. "I hope you become a better father," I said. "The children still need that." "What about us?" "There is no us now." He nodded slowly. This time, he did not argue. When I returned home, Noah and Lily were making dinner with my sister. There was tomato sauce on the counter and flour on Lily's shirt. The kitchen was a mess. A year earlier, that kind of mess would have frightened me. I would have rushed to clean it before Ryan came home. Now I laughed. Lily held up a piece of dough shaped like a heart. "This one is for you, Mommy." I took it carefully. "It is perfect." "No," Noah said. "It is a little strange." We all laughed. Later, after the children were asleep, I stood beside the window. The same stars that had watched me cry in my old house shone above our apartment. The sky had not changed. I had. For years, I had believed leaving meant I had failed to save my marriage. Now I understood that I had saved something more important. I had saved the peaceful part of myself that was almost gone. I had shown my children that love should not make a person disappear. And I had learned that a promise is not love. A wedding ring is not love. Sweet words spoken at the right moment are not always love. Love is what a person chooses to do after the beautiful moment is over. It is staying awake with a sick child. It is listening when someone feels alone. It is showing up when no one is taking pictures. Ryan had known how to look like a man in love. But I finally learned to see the difference between looking and being. That night, I turned off the kitchen light and walked toward my children's room. I no longer needed to ask whether my life was real. For the first time, it truly was.